Cheap and fun. Those are two words to describe some of the best cars out there. But don't be fooled. While there are some good choices, there are also some really bad ones. We here at Ideal are here to help you steer clear of these specific cars. And trust me, you're gonna thank me later, especially when you see the last one on this list, OMG. Because in this video, I'm gonna show you 6 cars that may seem appealing, but they're hiding some serious problems. So if you're new here, my name's Danger, and go ahead and smash that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell, because we're dropping the heat pretty much every other day. All right, buckle up, let's go. Now, I know that you know that BMW has created some real legends, but not everything to come out of their factories has lived up to that standard, like the E60 M5. Now, don't get me wrong, the E60 M5 is a true beast, at least on paper, with a fire-breathing F1-derived V10 pumping out 500 horsepower. Yeah, and the E60 M5 was the first production sedan to be powered by a V10. So, what's not to love? Well, we here in the States didn't get the super badass E61 M5 Touring, which is an M5 estate mobile, or wagon. Come on, BMW. We definitely want another M-Wagon like the E61 M5 with that screaming V10 and manual transmission. Yeah, that's right. Both the E60 sedan and E61 wagon were offered with a manual. And not only does that sound amazing, but well, if you don't have a manual or you drive one, go get our best-selling Ideal tee, save the manuals. Because with the wagon and that shirt, I mean, what's not to like? Well, when things seem to be too good to be true, most of the time they are. And the M5 is plagued with many reliability issues. So yeah, E60 M5s aren't all that reliable, like at all, which is super unfortunate because the E60 M5 has the underpinnings of a fantastic car. But that repair bill will end up costing you way more than the price of the car. While the barrier of entry might make the E60 M5 look like a stellar deal, don't be fooled. Even a clean PPI should scare you away from these cars because it's not if, but when it will break. But if your aunt's best friend's sister's dog has one, tell them to take you out for a rip in it and try to convince them to straight pipe it because damn, that thing sounds mean. And you're gonna thank me for steering you clear of the E60 M5. At least they're great to drive when they work and probably won't try to kill you, unlike, well, the Toyota MR2. I got 2 words for you. Snap, oversteer. That's prevented the Toyota MR2 from getting the true love that it desires. Say that you're coming into a corner, maybe just a little bit too hot, and then you lift off the gas pedal while turning to try and slow yourself down. And well, since the little MR2 is mid-engined and rear-wheel drive, decelerate into a corner and the weight of the car is suddenly thrown forward. And I think you know where this is going because then you lose the rear end grip and it kicks out. This can happen to you, and it happens way too often. Now, MR2s are perfect for letting mullets fly in the wind with their T-tops removed. And today, MR2s are getting harder and harder to find, especially ones that haven't been rotted out or crashed. But the ones that you do find are going to be around 10,000 bucks. With 44,000 miles, you'll have to shell out a bit less than 12 grand. But of course, by using the Ideal Car strategies where I teach you exactly how to make money driving your dream cars, not only could you get that MR2 for way less than 12, but you'd also be able to get, well, something other than an MR2. So if you wanna learn my 7 secrets to make money driving your dream car, check out the Ideal Car Strategies free webinar up here. And we all know that the snap oversteer makes the MR2 very unappealing. But what about a car that was made under Ferrari's supervision? They've all got to be perfecto, right? Well, there's definitely one car that I gotta say is definitely not perfecto, and it's the Maserati Quattroporte. I know Maserati is not a Ferrari, but at the time, Ferrari owned Maserati and the Quattroporte was designed and built by Ferrari. Plus, the 4.2 liter V8 engine is plucked right out of most Ferrari models at the time. And the suspension is based off of the Ferrari 612. And the aluminum bodywork was all designed by Pininfarina. So it's fair to say that the Maserati Quattroporte is essentially a 4-door Ferrari. But this is a list of cheap, fun cars, and Ferrari for sure ain't, well, cheap.
More than you you can afford, pal.
And the Maserati, well, it's pretty cheap, especially when you consider what you get. And today you can get a Quattroporte for just over 10 grand. But like the other cars on this list, the Maserati Quattroporte is also too good to be true. Quattroportes are known for both their front and rear subframes just straight up rotting. What are they, made out of wood? Of course, there is more, a lot more, like the fact that the Duo Select transmission goes through more clutches than I go through TikTok videos while waiting for the car service to finish up. And if you're not following our TikTok yet, well, go check it out at Ideal Cars. I'll link to it down in the description. Plus, there's constant oil and coolant leaks, just adding to its personality. And guess what? That's not the worst part. The electronics are known to go out without warning, and everything in the Quattroporte is electronically controlled. But trust me, you don't want to put your entire bank account at risk because repairs, well, they're not cheap. Over $4,000 in repairs of a sorted car hurts, but maybe not as much as owning our next car, the Fiat 500 Abarth. And the Fiat 500 Abarth is Italy's favorite little city dweller, sportified, which sounds awesome in theory, but they aren't the hottest hatch around, and for very good reason. Sure, it's got one of the most badass exhaust notes from the factory. And in fact, like the Dodge Neon SRT4, the 500 Abarth has no mufflers from the factories. It sounds damn good. Now, the 500 Abarth is also a joy to toss around your favorite twisties as it's lightweight and nimble like cars made to tear up the canyons. Many owners love their little 500s to death, but some wish they never had bought one. Why? Well, problems are plentiful with these cars, like the blower motor failing. While it's a common failure, it's one that adds some spunk to the driving experience, because at random times it decides to make a loud squealing noise from up under the dashboard. And because it's up under the dashboard, well, it's a labor-intensive process to remove the dashboard to get to replace it. Also, the interior is prone to rattling, and this was a complaint with brand new ones right off the lot. These eager little 2-liter engines drink oil like it's like water. So if you don't monitor oil levels every time you fill up, you might be needing yourself a new engine. And because these little race cars come with a tiny little turbo, boost leaks are a common issue too. Since the little Fiat is new to the United States, people complain that parts are relatively hard to come by, waiting weeks and sometimes even months for parts to be shipped over from Italy. And that's with prices of these Abarths going as low as $8,000. Now, I wouldn't want you to deal with the potential issues that these have, so don't buy one unless you know that it's not gonna be that reliable. And the same thing can be said about our little friend, the BMW 335i. Now, I know the 335i is powered by the legendary N54 motor, which can hold a metric ton of power. Not only that, but it comes in a plush bimmer that is relatively modern. But we don't care about all that. All we care about is what's under the hood. That glorious N54, which is often referred to as the modern 2JZ. Twin turbos push the 335i to 300 horses from the factory, but N54s take mods so well that seeing 500 horsepower is doable for the common daily driver. So why shouldn't you buy one? Well, I'm wondering that too. You should if you like unreliable cars. From wastegate rattles to clogged fuel injectors, failed high pressure fuel pumps, leaky valve cover gaskets, and the dreaded water pump failure are all common issues, and most of those will cost over $1,000 to repair. Even cars right around 100,000 miles have already had a bunch of these problems, and even if they've already been fixed, chances are they'll probably happen again. And even though they cost less than 9 grand, I would still shy away from them, unless you can wrench on them yourself, and you can deal with having a daily driver for your daily driver. So having 2 cars. And I wouldn't recommend your reliable daily driver to be this next car, the Mazda RX-8. Now, I'm not even gonna lie, the Mazda RX-8 can be a blast to drive, but it's painfully unreliable. The RX-8 is powered by one spicy Dorito. Pumping out 238 horsepower, the 2-liter, 1.3-liter rotary engine loves to play in the revs. From their funky rear doors to their trickster rotary engines, the RX-8 was always a quirky car, but it's that rotary engine that just kind of lets them down. It was so bad that Mazda had to build a whole new factory just to build new engines for the RX-8s, as most owners would blow their engines in the first 80,000 miles. The thing is that a rotary engine is not like a typical typical engine found in most cars. You see, to properly maintain a rotary, you need to treat it with care and understand what it's like. Fill it with gas, then fill it with oil and coolant. Redline it at least once a week to rid the engine of carbon buildup. Don't stop the car when cold, otherwise it'll likely flood. And there's a bunch of other minute but important things that you need to know if you own a rotary car. But how would you know if the previous owner followed them to a T? And what about the owner before that? Who knows? One thing that I do know though, is that once you see the price, you might just look into LS Swap One. Today you can pick up a fairly clean newer RX-8 with less than 100,000 miles on it for 6,500 bucks. So now it's your turn. What problem car did we overlook? Let us know down in the comments. Or are any of these cars appealing enough to overlook their problems that we discussed today? I'm really curious to hear your guys' thoughts, and I'll be hanging out in the comment section for the first few hours just to see what you guys have to say. Also, if you're new here, my name's Danger. Please subscribe and turn on that notification bell. And if you enjoyed the vid, hit the like button so we know to make more vids like this. I hope you guys are all having a great day, great week, great year. And as always, keep living the ideal lifestyle.